September 14th, 2016. You're looking at the latest graphics from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical Depression 12 off the African coast. That's the one we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on there, guys. If it maintains its ability to gain strength this fast, it could become a tropical storm pretty quick. Tropical Storm Julia, it's 40-mile-an-hour winds now. It's off the South Carolina coast. We're going to get into that in detail. I got some webcams and stuff in this video. And guys, a storm that you and I have watched every day since before it came into the Gulf is now reappearing on their radar. And I said the entire time that it had enough energy at the lower level rotation that if it got a break as far as wind shear and enough moisture in the air that it could redevelop. And it's just a 10% chance. And I've been saying that it would probably give someone some rain. Now, they're saying going into the southern sections of Texas there, north of the Mexican border. We need to watch that. It could go a little further north, but we're going to keep an eye on it every day just like we've been doing. Now, on Julia, that's the immediate threat to people's lives. And because of the flooding and possible power outages, of course, you got high rip currents, things like that. But they were predicting this thing to stay on shore just a little longer, I think. But what's happened is that in my opinion, has sensed the warm Gulf Stream water back offshore. That is what they feed off of. And in the radar imaging here, you can see that it is wandering offshore as far as this center. We'll look at the different spaghetti models. What that means to North Carolina, South Carolina, and depending on if it tracks out before it gets any further north, the states north of here. But what it means is with this eye pulling back out over the Gulf Stream is moisture being put into that northwest quadrant that you see on the radar there. Not only are you getting high surfing winds, but it's not going to move real fast according to the NOAA tracking. But it's definitely moving back offshore as far as the eye. Not a lot of rain behind it according to this radar. Now, this is the storm that they're giving us a 10% chance now of development. It's right under that cloud pattern right there. But we tracked this thing coming under the tip of Miami and just kept an eye on it. You can see it here. Then last night, then this morning, it's right under this explosion of cloud tops, which is kind of the way that Julia did. Now, it's so close to shore, it may not have much time for development, but we've kept our eye on it the entire time. We're going to continue. You guys in that area, you can see that you've got a movement due west, but you've got a wind shear that's moving northeast. So there's going to be kind of a medium, I think, there in that path. We'll take a look at it, guys. But you've got plenty of rain now. If this thing wraps, it could bring some flooding rain to the area. Now, here is the entire northern hemisphere of our planet. I did this so we could see the storms coming off the African coast, guys, and that's in the middle right of this image. Now, you've got these buzzsaw super typhoons upcoming across China and up near Russia there. But down in our area of the woods, we actually got about 4 different systems. The small one in the Gulf, Julia, Ian that's out in the middle of the Atlantic, and you've got the system coming off Africa. There's actually 2 of them that they're watching, remember? And so, but this first one looks like it's going to have plenty of power, and the models are keeping it straight. We'll look at it. Now, with Tropical Storm Julia, they had this thing staying on shore and becoming a low-pressure system instead of a tropical storm. But the eye is moving back offshore. They're giving you the times here. In the morning, Wednesday, 40-mile-an-hour winds. You can pause that and take a look at it. Now, the BAMS model still shows this loop, and now instead of looping over Florida, it's looping back down and impacting southern Georgia. After that, it just stops. You've got a couple other looping models, and you've got some that just can keep it hanging around a couple of days. If you look at how the red and gray lines there, it just rotates off, comes back to shore, and then heads out into the North Atlantic. Here with Tropical Depression 12, they're saying by 8 p.m. Wednesday, we could have tropical storm winds. Then the lows that you see are probably a section of dry air and going overnight and then reforming by 8 a.m. Monday winds at 45 miles an hour. We'll see if it takes that long for it to develop, if it stays on that straight line and stays out of the cooler water north of its path. Now, you got the CMC is the only model remaining that gives it that northern track. The rest are pretty much in line except for the exact area. Now, these are different beaches around Carolina, guys. This is Folly Beach, if I'm not mistaken. And you got Surf City as we go through them. I didn't write them all down, but you'll know exactly where I'm talking about if you're from the area. And it reminds me of when we were filming in Pensacola, especially around the piers. Large amounts of surf, a lot of wind coming in, and by the radar you can see it. Now, it shouldn't get very strong unless it loops back down into warmer water, but it doesn't take that much to give you a lot of inland flooding, because the winds are pushing the waves in from the east directly in west into the riverfronts. If you get a lot of rain, the rivers and creeks are not going to be able to drain because of the tide, things like that. Here's the Windjammer. This is just a few minutes ago. Surf cam at the Windjammer. These are South Carolina, by the way, guys. And what we've done is, if you go to our website at bpearthwatch.com, today there's been a couple more links added, and they're South Carolina beach cams. And this is the bridge at Charleston. And I've been there one time, but you guys that live there know exactly where I'm talking about. You've got a couple cameras. One goes north and one goes south here, I believe. You can tell the bridge is already getting kind of treacherous, because look at the vibration of the camera. This is US 17 South, and that's going over, I think, to the most northern island there in the Charleston area, if I'm not mistaken. It's Carolina Department of Transportation webcams. And the last one here, guys, I'm not going to talk because I want you to just listen to the winds that are coming in at Myrtle Beach. And you guys in Texas, keep an eye on the small storm in the Gulf. We'll be watching it. It's a heads up. Be safe.